Hey guys, nice to be here for this week's Oxen Labs update. Basically what we've been working on this week on the session side, we have been doing similar stuff to last week. So emoji reacts we've been working on. The database refactor on iOS is coming along. On the emoji reacts, we're basically done for emoji reacts in closed groups and one-to-one. We're waiting on some, the changes have been made on the Open Group server, but we're just waiting for the team to be at the right place at the right time so we can integrate on the Open Groups all at the same time. So that should be happening in the next couple of weeks. We're working on, we released the Android release this week as well, which changes some notification bugs that we had and also reduces the permissions that we're using, because we were using some permissions that came over from when we were integrating calls, which we forked the code from Signal for calls, and it included a permission that we don't actually need that Signal uses. So we took out one of those permissions. We've done a little release for that this week. On iOS, we're still working on the database refactor. Some issues with notifications coming onto the home screen, and when you click on them, not taking you to the right place in the application. And also we're having some calls issues with notifications on the database refactor as well. Seems to be just on my phone because Morgan can't reproduce it, but we're working to try and get it reproduced so that we make sure none of these bugs get to production. Similar stuff on desktop, basically working on emoji reacts on desktop, and also working on the ID blinding branch as well, which should be finishing up this week. On the Lokinet side of things, we have gotten to a point with where we've kind of done all of the core Mac integration code for a new Mac release. We're now wiring up the new GUI so that when you press the buttons on the GUI, it actually tells Lokinet to say start or stop or connect to the network. Basically all those buttons work when you press them. We, on the Lokinet side, are also working on some logging refactor. So this is kind of across all of the core components, so storage server, Oxen Core, and Lokinet, working on a logging refactor. So that basically means like the logs that print to the console, we're trying to make them more useful and make it easier for devs to add in logs or take away logs if they need to. And on the Oxen Core side, we're making really good progress with Ledger. I'm testing the Ledger app on my device or on my desktop right now. Running into a few issues, but hopefully they should be fixed up in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for the labs this week. Thanks guys.
Welcome guys to another weekly update from the Marketing Labs here. So last week, as everyone's painfully aware, we had Alex and Key go to the Privacy Enhancing Technology Symposium over at Sydney. So it was a really good time. They had a great time. I'm sure they went on parties and met with people and had a blast. But right now what we're doing is we're going through all of the content and the videos that they took. So we're going to get a bunch of interviews with academics, a bunch of articles coming out of it, a whole bunch more vids. So keep your eyes peeled for that. On top of that, they made a whole bunch of cool new connections with other people in the privacy space and organizations. So hopefully in the future we can see those relationships blossom into something really beautiful. That's the plan anyways, but we'll see how it goes. Also here in Office Land, we finished off our latest content cycle. The content cycle we were doing was related to privacy and relationships, so now we're just basically going through and reviewing how all of that went to see how the cycle performed before we decide on what the next cycle is going to be. Also to note, less articles last week dropped than usual, and that's because we had a man down at the conference, but starting next week, hopefully everything should be getting back into the regular flow. Also, socials had an incredibly huge week this week, with Cam dropping one of the biggest tweets we've ever had. Actually, just that tweet alone garnered over 500,000 impressions. Got retweeted a bunch of times. Actually, one of the people that retweeted it was Eva, the director of cybersecurity over at EFF. So that was pretty huge. Actually, looking at the numbers, the whole month of Twitter activity was the best performing month we've had in socials this month, with on average over doubling our impressions. So pretty good week for socials. Also, we've relaunched our session Instagram page, so if you haven't already checked that out, go give it a follow. and actually it was the week of big numbers, because for our ads, it was the biggest week we had with our ads as well, having over 670,000 impressions. So overall, that was how last week went. We're looking forward to giving you guys the new content related to the PETS, the Privacy Enhancing Technology Symposium. But that's it for me this week, and I'll see you guys in the future. Woo!